All right, welcome back. Another video, and today we're going to be talking about vegan chicken nuggets because guess who came out with them? None other than your most beloved KFC. KFC, they're known for fried chicken and all things fried, is now coming out with plant-based chicken nuggets. So, what does that mean? And what's my opinion on it? How do I feel about this? Well, I think it's kind of a disgrace for the vegan culture and vegan pride, in my opinion, and for all that you stand by. But the chicken nuggets from KFC, let's go ahead and they're the Beyond chicken nuggets. So that's the brand, the Beyond Meats, and this is kind of what they look like, eh? So you got 12 piece right here. So not too shabby, right? Not too shabby. So, however, the menu shows it with a bunch of other stuff that's fried. So you got French fries, fried chicken nuggets, Coke, and I think there's a cookie in there too. Cookie might be vegan. But the nutrition guide for this, so like if I'm getting chicken and I'm trying to maybe increase my protein intake as a vegan, this is going to be a solid option, right? Well, for the chicken nuggets, I don't know what the serving size is. It says 6 grams of protein, 5 carbs coming from the breading, and then also probably maltodextrin and some of the ingredients in there, and then 4.5 grams of fat. That's not coming from the saturated fat from the chicken because, again, remember, it's plants. So where's this fat coming from? Plants don't, they don't usually produce high fats like broccoli and such, right? So it's coming from oils. So that's what that is all about. So that's the KFC new item menu, Beyond Meat chicken nuggets. So they're joining the bandwagon of what other companies are doing with fake meat, Beyond Burgers, similar to like what this company does, this Morningstar Farms. For their chicken nuggets. So for 4 nuggets, you're getting 13 grams of protein, 23 carbs, and 7 grams of fat. Now that ratio of the fats and carbs and protein to the calories, it's not let's say the most friendly when it comes to like maybe body recomposition or losing weight or trying to put on muscle. Trying to find a high protein diet, food for vegans, because again, you got 7 grams of fat, so 7 times 9, because every gram of fat's 9 calories, 63. So 63, and then you have that's coming from the fats, and then you have the carbs, so 23 grams of carbs, and that's going to be times 4, because every gram of carb is 4 calories. It's 92 calories. Plus 63 equals 155 minus 200. So 155 calories are coming from carbs and from fat, and then only 45 of those calories are coming from protein, 13 grams of protein. Let's just double check that. 13 times 4. Yeah, so it's more than 200 calories. So you're getting more than 200 calories in there, and let's look at what the chicken nugget's made out of. So the very first ingredient. So remember, this titrates from most to least, and that makes up the food group or whatever is being sold, packaged, prepared, supplemental wise. If they do a proprietary blend, that's kind of like how it goes. Even in the listings, it will go from highest to lowest of what the content is made up of for ingredients. So the very first ingredient is water. Second ingredient is wheat flour. Third, soy protein concentrate. So that's where they get the protein. So it is soy. The fourth, vegetable oil. And this can vary from oil to oil depending on manufacturer. So corn, canola, and or sunflower. So it really depends. It's kind of like maltodextrin. It really doesn't need to be specified. I mean, it could be coming from wheat, it could be coming from potato, it could be coming from corn. They don't really have to specify. After that, we have soy protein isolate. So another protein, a little bit faster digesting, a little bit more pre-digested. And then sugar, because they make them sweet. These are sweet mustard chicken nuggets, veggie. And then contains less than 2% of wheat gluten, yellow corn flour, methyl cellulose, and then potato starch, cornstarch, onion powder. So it's kind of like all these flavoring components, molasses. So you have some more sugar in here. Again, a couple different maltodextrins and maltodextrins. It gets it like that gummy texture, kind of that solidity, plus it also gives the crust to it. It's a binding agent with all the other binding agents of like wheat starch and wheat gluten, because gluten is a protein that is just a binder, and it's a very unique one. And let's see, that gets the yeast in there to make the kind of like the breading, and like because like vegans will use the yeast, certain yeast products, like nutritional yeast for like cheese almost. Plus it has real nutritional yeast will have a good amount of B vitamins in there, but this is so far down on the line. It's probably just to help with the breadcrumbs and baking the breadcrumbs. They use xanthan gum in here. That's kind of weird. I think a lot of vegans try to typically stay away from xanthan gum. And then like some turmeric for coloring, glutamic acid. So very high, very nutritious, right? So the kicker of what I don't get is the whole point of you, of a person going on vegan diet. Usually there's a root of morality to it. Like you love animals, you love the earth, you want to do less pollution, less carbon footprint. You also maybe believe that almost like Hippocrates, to where be let food be thy medicine, thy medicine be thy food. You do believe that there are more abudarics and more herbals for treatment or preventative medicine that other countries around the world that really do thrive and using to have better health and sustainable health, which is totally true to a certain degree of illness and extract components and quality control. So, however, you also believe that well, some people, they need to refrain from eating certain types of meat. They might be allergic to it, or they might have a polymorphism or a blood disorder or a protein disorder to chicken, eggs, or beef, kind of random things like that. Very far and few. So, you know who you would be, because you would have eaten something like a piece of beef, and then you would have ended up in the ER. So, not just saying you have a tummy ache, but to where you literally were going to die. So usually it is more of a moral issue, or the other spectrum is you just want to be different because you think it's cool being different, almost like this like fat acceptance movement, kind of that same idea. And here's the funny thing, is that you just saw the ingredient list on that particular product from Morningstar, and also KFC is going to be the same thing relatively. You're using a lot of processed foods, right? So you're not even having a vegan diet like what it should be coming from whole foods. So like in examine.com, veganism, a vegan diet should be balanced and low in processed foods, right? So a whole food, plant-based diet for optimal results. So the whole purpose of you becoming a vegan or starting a specific diet or taking nutritional supplements, like in my other videos, is to become optimal. We don't want to be average. No one wants to be average. Everyone wants to be optimal. But they even give different levels of evidence for research. And so some people saw weight loss doing, again, whole food based vegan diet, which takes some time and preparation on your end and some actual research, or just more like studying, because you're not researching, you're not PhD, you're not taking this product A and then product B and then doing some sort of trial or test on it. And so you're just studying, right? So you're getting a good solid education. Lower blood pressure, probably because some people may have increased amounts of magnesium, right? And maybe an increased amount of potassium because they started eating more potatoes, started eating more greens. So maybe their blood pressure dropped, started eating beets and more nitric oxide production. Fasting glucose went down. That one I don't really know how that could be, probably because they may have like eaten less very like hyper palatable foods, like, and also with a fatty meal as well. So you kind of like store the fats into your fat cells, and then the sugars are floating around your bloodstream. So like eating steak with a bag of potato chips and drinking a soda, right? It's like a ribeye steak. So that would help with lowering overall fasting glucose and the 3-month span glucose, HbA1c. May have reduced anxiety. Again, I don't really know about that. It could be, sometimes people get very excitatory with proteins because they can have excitatory response on the sympathetic system with more of a glutamate response. C-reactive proteins, and maybe some people, again, who are allergic to egg whites, depression, interleukin 6. Interleukin 6 is kind of like inflammatory markers. So like interleukin 4, it's like a problem that I have with skin, and interleukin 6, more for like overweight, obese people. But yeah, you see cholesterol and all this stuff go down, but bone fracture risk, it goes up, and we know why that goes up, right? So again, that's coming from examines. This is coming from, this paper right here is coming from the National Library of Medicine Institute of Health, and even vegan nutrition. Again, they have to consistently state, however, if a vegan diet is not appropriately planned, reduction of caloric intake and nutritional deficiencies of fatty acids, proteins, vitamins, and minerals may appear. So again, going back to this is what happens, okay? It's very, very hard to maintain optimal health while eating vegan foods. It is possible. I can make a video about that, about pairing up different types of proteins that are per calorie content of volume. It will have higher protein versus carbohydrates and fats. Typically, carbohydrates is a problem in vegan foods. Also, phytic acid and stuff like that coming from beans and such. Too much of that, but you typically will have more carbs, right? So we want to make sure that we're exercising quite a bit for vegans, walking after meals, things to help regulate blood sugar, and to make sure that you don't get type 2 diabetes. But going back to the whole chicken nugget thing, which I think is just absurd, Beyond Meat burgers, all these things that are posing as meat. The whole purpose of you stepping away from a meat-based diet is the fact that again, you don't want the slaughterhouses of these cows, right? You want animals to be treated with proper care, so almost as if it's like, kosher, right? So treat them well. However, with the increase of humans on the planet, we need to make sure that we have enough food for everybody, and also enough food for the corporate companies that are servicing us as restaurants or fast food. So we have to do things a little bit quicker and more efficient. And unfortunately, that means that the slaughterhouses are kind of taken, they look very terrible, which they are probably very terrible. I don't know, I haven't been in one firsthand. And I know there's videos out there, but again, you can manipulate a video however you want to, because you can slice and edit it and such, which is why I don't edit my videos. This is me straight through. There's no chopping. And because there's some silent pauses. So I don't know firsthand, right? So people can make things worse than what they are. It's the same thing with that plant-based documentary that came out on Netflix. I don't remember the name of it, but they had like Arnold Schwarzenegger and all the athletes saying, "Oh, vegan, I drink beet juice and I have better performance and all this higher, like 500% better nitric oxide production, better pumps and all this stuff." Yeah, but you didn't build your body with that, right? You built your body with meat-based diet, right? A lot of false claims. Anyways, again, going off tangent. You do understand that you creating these foods, has a lot of seed oils, which is bad for your health, and a lot of like highly processed foods going, like you're eating a lot of processed foods, right? Even tofu and such, right? It is processed foods. As far as like genetically modified, I don't think that really matters to a certain degree, because a lot of things have to be genetically modified, and then it's a bad connotation. Same thing like how the word failure has a bad connotation. Like failure is not always a bad thing. GMO is not always a bad thing. It's sometimes necessary, and it can be controlled and given tolerances in a way that it can be healthy, because we're using it for human consumption and not GMO corn for fuel. So why are you trying to make your vegan food look like meat if you're going on a plant-based diet? Don't you want to abstain from anything that looks like meat? I mean, why are you trying to fake something? Do you really miss it that much that you need to make something fake? And now, because you're doing this, hey, it goes against all that you stand for, saying, oh, like plant-based is better. Well, then freaking make your cauliflower steak, right? Do your vegan vegetable kebabs. Do whatever you want, just plant-based. Don't try to make it look like a freaking chicken nugget. Don't try to make it look like a burger. And you guys are doing a really good job, because it really does look like it from pictures. And sometimes when you look at it in real life, it's okay. You know, it looks like a little hockey puck. It's getting like closer, right? Really close. But why? Why mentally do you need to have that thing look like meat whenever you are vegan and you're proud to be vegan, because it's supposed to be better for your health, but yet you miss, obviously, freaking chicken nuggets. You miss Chick-fil-A, right? You do. You miss it. Chick-fil-A is not going to bring freaking plant-based nuggets to you. They're not. They're smarter than that. They don't want to freaking, pollute the earth with more of this crap. Second, this is the biggest thing. This is what I don't get. You guys are saying that you hate slaughterhouses, right? And how we treat animals, or how the farmers treat animals, right? You do know that it freaking takes a facility to make your tofu, to make your nuggets, to make your like freaking prepackaged snacks. It takes a freaking manufacturing system, right? It takes a huge building. It takes trucks to take them here and there. So that means there's roads. It takes all these things. Guess what that's doing? That's destroying the ecosystem. You're literally destroying homes of animals. So you're saying, I want more and more of these manufacturers to make my Beyond Meat burgers and chicken nuggets, but I don't want to pay a really high price. So guess what that means? That means that they have to be able to have different, or they have to have many areas, or like locations, and have a low production cost, and try to reduce the amount of logistics right now, because it's kind of costly for truck drivers, right? For transportation, it's very costly. So you'd want to make the least amount of distance as possible, or have some type of contractual agreement, but you have to be able to produce more and more and more, right? You're getting the oils from somewhere. Like the oils just aren't made in the lab. Well, maybe they are, and that's even worse, right? But like, let's say that you need more corn to make your vegetable oil, right? So that means I have to plow more land and destroy more trees so I can have more cornfields, so I can make more chicken nuggets for you guys, right? That doesn't make any sense, right? The only people I've seen that really make sense are, they're called raw vegans, and I've seen them. They have like, there's little seed breads that are baking out there in the sun. They don't use microwaves. They walk around barefoot. They ride bicycles. They're all over in California. And they're doing it right. Those are like legit, like treehouse people. Why? That's the way it is. Build a house sustainable in the tree. Use the sun to bake your food. I mean, that's the way it is. It's like that movie, Up Without a Paddle, or Without a Paddle or something. All those girls that are in the treehouse and they don't shave their legs. Anyways, like, that's my opinion on it. I'm pretty sure that's the majority of opinion out there. If you're going to be if you're going to want to eat plants as your diet, like vegan, I recommend plant-based. This is my recommendation, plant-based. So that just means that the base of your diet, the foundation of it, is plants. Every now and then, have some sort of other option of like egg, Greek yogurt, so something that's fermented, and it's good for your gut, kefir, things like that. Maybe just eat fish. And maybe just be a pescatarian and just eat some fish every now and then. If you're going to eat beef, look into where you're buying it from. Have grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and that the farmers actually take care of it. So people like Piedmontese and such, that really take care of their beef. Pay a little bit extra for it, but you're not going to lack these nutritions, because that's the other problem that you're running into now, is that you saw that those chicken nuggets, they were not fortified with any vitamins and minerals, right? So you don't get a lot of the essential vitamins and minerals. Like a piece of steak would have everything essential to live on: essential fats, essential acids, right? Vitamins, minerals, things that help with red blood cell count, things that help with insulin control, things that help with our mind, eggs, choline sources, also helps with gut motility. So gut diversity, the bones, or like the ligaments and meat, also like bone marrow, heart, liver, things like that, organ meats. All these things help with gut microbiome diversity. There's a lot of different things that comes into it, and also it seems to reduce a lot of autoimmune disorders because of processed foods. Processed foods cause a lot of autoimmune disorders, increasing interleukin cells, which is inflammatory issues, which I have. I deal with those things, and I control them, and I don't use pharmaceutical drugs for it now. Like I used to use Dupixent, and I don't have to anymore. You know, it's my breakouts happen based on like my skin eczema breaks out, and certain inflammatory issues happen in my gut and colon due to what I eat process wise, and I feel it immediately. So the deficiencies that you get from eating these processed foods, these nuggets, these burgers, being on a vegan diet, strictly vegan diet, not eating meat, I think you're setting yourself up for failure in the long run. You saw that you typically have higher risk of bone fractures. You're not getting a lot of calcium that is going to the bones, not getting a lot of, you might have more phosphorus, which cause some issues with calcium and vitamin D. You know, magnesium also needs to go to the bones. Your red blood cells are made from bone, within your bone marrow. So there's a lot of issues. You know, a lot of people are anemic, so you need B12, you need iron, which you could be getting from just like a piece of meat every 4 days, you know, every 3 days, depending on your physical activity level. But it's very, very hard. So besides, you know, just making a plant-based diet and eating some alternative protein foods that are from ruminous animals, I would also recommend lost my train of thought. Protein powder. You know, that it is a processed food, but it's very high quality, very high standard. It's actually shown to help with gut motility, shown to help with gut microbiome. They throw in digestive enzymes, they throw in probiotics, and some of these. The amino acid complex and profile is very similar nowadays to some of like egg protein, right? It's getting very, very close to whey protein. Egg protein powder is the standard. You know, that's what they set it to. That's 100%. Whey protein is like 137% or something like that. You know, plant-based is usually like in the 80s, 70s, 60s, depending on what you're getting. And you need a combination of them. You can't just have one. Typically, you need a combination to have a diverse amino acid profile content. There are a few brands out there. I can go over them that I've tried. They're good. Their texture is kind of gritty. That is what you get with plant-based. It's an acquired taste. However, I'm leaving it there. You know, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, leave some comments. Tell me that I'm gonna, you know, be cursed forever because I'm not vegan. Whatever you want to do. And that's it. I'm out.